In our last video, we understood about optimization techniques, and we are going to talk about momentum-based optimizers in this video, and why optimizers are very helpful, guys, and why it is needed. Because you need to create your own neural networks. Like when you are working in an industry or any organization, you need to have your own understanding. You need to put everything of your own. So at that time, you need to know what are the different types and how those things are working. Which one can be used at which place. If you not know those concepts, it's getting harder. And you need to understand, you need to stick to this video till end to get that concept. It will help you. So let's start on your momentum-based optimizers right now. So we all know, guys, what is my optimizer, at least by now, that it is a technique, right? My optimizers are my techniques used in ML to speed up the training, right? And at the same time, it improves your accuracy, right? And what is my momentum-based optimizers? We all know that it is an enhancement of SGD, right? My standard gradient descent, right? And what it does, it acts like a heavy ball rolling down a hill, right? Just imagine this, and gaining speed and momentum to reach bottom faster as compared to your SGD. So just imagine that this is how it works, right? This is your analogy, you can say. Now let me draw an image just to show you a comparison, or just to show how my momentum works. So just imagine that this is your cost function, right? And this is your theta. This is a 2D image, right? I mean, how your points are getting lying on your surface. It's just, this is a cross section, or this is a 2D image. Okay, so just imagine that there is a point, okay, and that point comes down, right? Comes down. And here, this is a place where my gradient will be 0. That means here the convergence is happening. That means here my learning should be completed. Then again, it takes this, like it takes that the speed, and like that it is going. It's not like always it will take a smooth surface. So you can see that there are so many bumps and downs available in this surface. However, in our normal gradient, you can see that this, you know, the speed, you can, this is a speed. I mean, this is an indicator of speed. That size of that arrow is always normal. However, in case of momentum, you can see that at one place, right, it starts. It starts slowly. Then here you can see it's a very big grade, right? So it took a larger momentum, like it speeds up there. Then it reaches here. Again, here, if you imagine that from this side, how it comes up, like it starts here, right? Again, it comes up here like that, right? And again, it took a larger step here, right? So it take from this to this, the journey, right? However, we all know that this is your gradient 0, but it will try to converge here. So all the points will always try to be at the, you know, global minima point, or where the gradient is 0. So this is the difference, guys. So just imagine that your gradient is always takes a normal speed, it takes a slower step, and it converges somehow. But in case of momentum, it takes that same gradient, but it adds that momentum, or it adds the inertia. Oscillation will be lesser here, so it takes a smoother step, Why? Because what we understood, it takes the previous step or previous speed and it adds up to the current speed. That's why it imagines, okay, my previous speed is this, I need to modify my current speed, right? Now we will understand why momentum. So we all know gradient, sorry, my bad. Gradient descent can take small steps and it can get stuck in your local minima. However, and what are the different problems it has? So it oscillates at that point, right? Instead of moving towards center. Towards center. And at the same time, my momentum adds inertia to the update. So all I can say that it does not stop at local minima. That's it. And again, the learning happens in a relevant direction. It won't modify the direction just the way in the image it has shown that we have negative gradient, we have positive gradient. It's not like that. Now we will understand the working principle of my momentum. So we all know that it is not updating weights based on current gradient, right? Not updating weights based on current gradient. And it updates them. How is the modified formula? Current gradient plus fraction of previous updates. Right? So what it will do, the first step, it calculates velocity. Physics term, guys, velocity, right? We all know what is velocity. Vt. So the formula for this is going to be Vt minus 1. This is gamma plus, sorry, this is eta, gamma into j of theta. So this is your formula, right? And we all know this is my gradient, right? Then phi of t minus 1 is my previous velocity. Then eta equal to momentum factor, right? And momentum factor, basically we are taking 0.9. That means my 90% time it is understanding, okay, what it needs to be remembered from the past, and my 10% time it is focusing on the current state, right? That's how it is going to work, my momentum factor. And we all know this is my step size or my learning rate. Now, once we are getting this Vt, we need to update weights, right? How it is going to be updated. So here, in terms of theta, it's going to be theta equal to theta minus Vt, right? And in terms of weights, how it's going to be Wt. That means my current weight is going to be my previous weight minus alpha into Vt. So we all know this is your learning rate. So instead of your gradient, we are using my Vt. That's it. That should be the formula. And that is the only change. So how it is considering it. And from the above, what we know that we have two components in case of momentum, right? Let's understand that what are those two components. So we understood two new terms, right? One is a momentum factor. Right? Usually, in case of your, coding perspective, it is, getting denoted as a beta. However, people are using different analogies in their formulas. Now, let's see what is it. So we all know, right? We are using point net, right? So what it means, what I told you that my current update is 90% dependent on past direction and 10% on current gradient. That's what I told you, right? It focuses 90% of your past data or past understanding of past direction and 10% on my current step. And we have one more. So this is one. This is another one, which is nothing but an exponentially weighted average. So we all know that we have, the method, right? Where we are, or how it is doing, it is taking the, the weights and the gradients, it's taking the average of it. So that's nothing but, or it's called as exponentially weighted average. So how it is happening? Instead of storing all past gradients, it usually, or momentum takes leaky average to remember past direction. So what exactly is happening? It is giving more weights to recent steps. Than very old ones. And we all know that there are different types of momentum, right? So let's understand the types of momentum. So one we all know, it's a classical momentum, right? Or in short, we are telling that as a momentum. Or there is another name called Polyak. So if somebody will tell Polyak momentum, that means it's a classical momentum. What it does, so we all know that, it uses exponential weighted average, or it takes the moving average of gradients from your past gradients to update your current gradients, right? To update weights. So with this, we are achieving fast training and it avoids local minima. Correct? Now we have another one which we have understood, right? It's Nesterov accelerated gradients, which is called NAG. So we all know what to do. It computes gradient after applying current, velocity. It allows to flow and make corrections. Corrections wherever it's necessary, right? So I can say that it's one step above your classical. Above classical. Then we have the third type, which is called Nadam. So again, the name says it's Nesterov plus Adam. Right? So what? Now we will understand what are the different advantages of momentum. So we all know, right? It helps in converging of my gradients. So as it takes a very limited or very less time, so we can say that it has a faster convergence process, right? The second thing is going to be that it is reducing oscillations. What is oscillations? I already told you that when, just imagine that a ball falls down and when it stucks, right? Just have you seen, golf playing, or in TV you must have seen how people are playing golf. So when the ball hits inside that goal or that hole, right? It is not going and immediately stopping there. As the speed was more, it needs some surface to hit and stop, right? So it won't stop immediately because it will oscillate and it will stop. Here the same concept applies. It oscillations, like when the gradient descent works, at the time oscillations are happening and these kind of dips, right? So with momentum, as the momentum, it takes momentum, it won't stop anywhere. It will just take the smooth speed and it converges. So it reduces oscillation, right? Then it escapes local minima. We all know these 3 points are important for momentum because these are the 3 things it is overcoming as compared to your gradient descent. So with this, we have completed our, momentum based optimizers, and we will cover, next topics of our deep learning, core concepts in our upcoming videos. Please subscribe, like, share your comments, share your valuable feedback, share this channel link to all your friends and near ones. And while subscribing, do not forget to hit the bell icon. See you and meet you during our next video. Thank you. Bye.